Childe Rowland and his brothers twain were playing at the ball, and there was their sister Berdellen in the midst, among them all. Childe Rowland kicked it with his foot and caught it with his knee. At last as he plunged among them all o'er the church he made it flee. Berdellen round about the aisle to seek the ball is gone, but long they waited, and longer still, and she came not back again. They sought her east, they sought her west, they sought her up and down, and woe were the hearts of those brethren, for she was not to be found. So at last her eldest brother went to the warlock Merlin and told him all the case, and asked him if he knew where Berdellen was. The fair Berdellen, said the warlock Merlin, must have been carried off by the fairies, because she went round the church Widershins, the opposite way to the sun. She is now in the dark tower of the King of Elfland. It would take the boldest knight in Christendom to bring her back. If it is possible to bring her back, said her brother, I'll do it, or perish in the attempt. Possible it is, said the warlock Merlin, but woe to the man or mother's son that attempts it, if he is not well taught beforehand what he is to do. The eldest brother of Berdellen was not to be put off, by any fear of danger, from attempting to get her back, so he begged the warlock Merlin to tell him what he should do, and what he should not do, in going to seek his sister. And after he had been taught, and had repeated this lesson, he set out for Elfland. But long they waited, and longer still, with doubt and muckle pain. But woe were the hearts of his brethren, for he came not back again. Then the second brother got tired of waiting, and he went to the warlock Merlin and asked him the same as his brother. So he set out to find Berdellen. But long they waited, and longer still, with muckle doubt and pain, and woe were his mother's and brother's heart, for he came not back again. And when they had waited a good long time, Childe Rowland, the youngest of Berdellen's brothers, wished to go, and went to his mother, the good queen, to ask her to let him go. But she would not at first, for he was the last and dearest of her children, and if he was lost, all would be lost. But he begged, and he begged, till at last the good queen let him go, and gave him his father's good brand that never struck in vain, and as she girded round his waist, she said the spell that would give it victory. So Childe Rowland said goodbye to the good queen, his mother, and went to the cave of the warlock Merlin. Once more, and but once more, he said to the warlock, tell how man or mother's son may rescue Berdellen and her brothers twain. Well, my son, said the warlock Merlin, there have been two things, simple they may seem, but hard they are to do. One thing to do, and one thing not to do. And the thing to do is this: after you have entered the land of Faerie, whoever speaks to you, till you meet the Berdellen, you must out with your father's brand and off with their head. And what you've not to do is this: bite no bit, and drink no drop. However hungry or thirsty you be, drink a drop, or bite a bit. While in Elfland you be, and never will you see Middle Earth again. So Childe Rowland said the two things over and over again, till he knew them by heart, and he thanked the warlock Merlin and went on his way. And he went along, and along, and along, and still further along, till he came to the horse herd of the King of Elfland feeding his horses. These he knew by their fiery eyes, and knew that he was at last in the land of Faerie. Canst thou tell me, said Childe Rowland to the horse herd, where the King of Elfland's dark tower is? I cannot tell thee, said the horse herd, but go on a little further and thou wilt come to the cow herd, and he, maybe, can tell thee. Then, without a word more, Childe Rowland drew the good brand that never struck in vain, and off went the horse herd's head. And Childe Rowland went on further, till he came to the cow herd, and asked him the same question. I can't tell thee, said he, but go on a little further, and thou wilt come to the hen wife, and she is sure to know. Then Childe Rowland out with his good brand, that never struck in vain, and off went the cowherd's head. And he went on a little further, till he came to an old woman in a grey cloak, and he asked her if she knew where the dark tower of the King of Elfland was. Go on a little further, said the